At the age of 12, I found myself at that delicate threshold between childhood innocence and budding awareness of the world's darker realities. Living in a bustling neighborhood, nestled near a forest preserve and a community park, provided me with a seemingly idyllic backdrop for my adventures. Little did I know that one fateful Saturday night would shatter the illusion of safety that had enveloped my youthful naivety. Enticed by the allure of a mini carnival in the nearby park, I embarked on a solitary journey through the dimly lit forest with only a flashlight to guide my way. As I emerged from the shadows and beheld the dazzling array of carnival rides and attractions, a sense of excitement mingled with apprehension coursed through my veins. Navigating the bustling carnival grounds, I stumbled upon a circus tent adorned with vibrant red and white stripes, its interior illuminated by the flickering glow of stage lights. Drawn by curiosity, I ventured inside, only to be greeted by the whimsical antics of three clowns performing on a makeshift stage. However, my initial fascination quickly turned to unease when one of the clowns singled me out from the audience, beckoning me to join them on stage with an eerie wave of his finger. Instinctively recoiling from the unsettling invitation, I made a hasty retreat from the tent, eager to put some distance between myself and the unnerving spectacle. Seeking solace in the company of a friend amidst the carnival revelry, I found temporary respite from the disquieting encounter with the clowns. Yet as the night waned and the carnival began to wind down, a sense of foreboding crept over me like a shroud. As I made my way towards the woods, intent on retracing my steps homeward, a sinister whisper pierced the stillness of the night, emanating from the shadowy figure of the clown who had sought to lure me into the tent's backstage realm. His offer of a clandestine glimpse behind the curtain of the circus tent sent a shiver down my spine, prompting me to hastily decline and flee into the sanctuary of the forest. Heart pounding with a mixture of fear and adrenaline, I raced through the labyrinthine trails of the woods, each rustling leaf and snapping twig amplifying my sense of dread. Yet despite my frantic efforts to evade the persistent specter of the clown, his ominous presence continued to haunt my every step. When I finally reached the safety of my home, breathless and trembling, I made a conscious decision to conceal the harrowing ordeal from my concerned mother, fearing that divulging the details of my encounter would jeopardize my newfound independence. In the aftermath of that chilling night, the memory of the sinister clown lurking in the shadows lingered as a sobering reminder of the unseen dangers that lurked beneath the veneer of familiarity and routine. And though I sought to bury the memory deep within the recesses of my mind, the haunting echo of that whispered invitation would forever serve as a sobering reminder of the fragility of childhood innocence in a world fraught with peril. Growing up with a deep-seated fear of clowns, stemming from a harrowing encounter at a county fair when I was just 5 years old, instilled in me a profound sense of unease whenever I found myself in their presence. Little did I know that this fear would resurface with a vengeance one cold November night, casting a shadow of terror over what should have been a routine evening. With my parents away on vacation and my siblings occupied elsewhere, my friend B suggested a trip to the nearby fair, nestled in a deserted parking lot just a few blocks away. Eager for some companionship and the promise of amusement, I welcomed the idea and eagerly awaited B's arrival. As we wandered through the labyrinth of carnival games and attractions, the atmosphere was tinged with an air of whimsical excitement, punctuated by the occasional burst of laughter and the faint strains of festive music. Yet, amidst the revelry, a solitary figure loomed ominously on the periphery of my vision. A clown, adorned in garish attire and painted features, whose silent gestures and exaggerated movements sent a chill down my spine. Despite B's casual demeanor and playful interactions with the clown, I couldn't shake the gnawing sense of unease that gripped me like a vice. His proximity seemed to draw closer with each passing moment, his painted smile concealing a lurking malevolence that sent shivers down my spine. As we made our way back home along the deserted neighborhood streets, the tranquil silence was shattered by the ominous sound of footsteps trailing behind us, a sinister echo that seemed to reverberate with malevolent intent. Paralyzed by fear, we quickened our pace, acutely aware of the unseen presence lurking in the shadows. The tension reached a fever pitch when we caught sight of a menacing figure concealed within the neighboring bushes. A clown, his grotesque visage illuminated by the dim glow of the streetlights, his gaze fixated upon us with an unsettling intensity. With trembling hands, I fumbled for the keys to my front door, my heart pounding in my chest as the specter of the clown drew ever nearer. With a surge of adrenaline, we bolted inside and barricaded ourselves in the safety of my home. Our frantic efforts to contact my parents met with a chilling silence that only heightened our sense of dread. Huddled together in my brother's room, we watched in terror as the clown lingered outside, his sinister silhouette casting a pall of fear over our sanctuary. Hours passed like an eternity as we waited in breathless anticipation, the specter of impending danger looming ominously in the darkness. When at last the ominous figure vanished into the night, leaving behind only the haunting echo of his presence, we breathed a sigh of relief, our nerves frayed but our resolve unbroken. Though the memory of that fateful night would linger in the recesses of my mind, a testament to the fragility of innocence in the face of unspeakable terror, it also served as a stark reminder of the resilience of the human spirit in the face of adversity. In recent news, there have been numerous unsettling reports of clowns lurking in the shadows, preying on unsuspecting individuals. I, too, found myself face to face with this chilling phenomenon, an encounter that left me shaken to my core. For now, I choose to withhold my identity, wary of the possibility that the clown may discover my involvement. Nevertheless, I feel compelled to recount my harrowing ordeal. At the age of 14, residing in a quaint South Carolina town with a population of around 130, I found myself embroiled in a nightmarish situation that defied all logic. Working at the local lumberyard provided a sense of routine amidst the serene backdrop of our rural community. My daily commute, a leisurely mile-long walk, was a familiar ritual that I undertook without a second thought. One fateful evening, as twilight descended upon the tranquil landscape, I set out on my journey home. The moon cast an ethereal glow upon the winding road, shrouding the surrounding forest in an eerie veil of darkness. The chorus of crickets and frogs provided a haunting soundtrack to my solitary trek, punctuated by the occasional rustle of leaves in the gentle breeze. Midway through my journey, a peculiar sound pierced the silence. A shrill, high-pitched laughter that sent shivers down my spine. Startled, I paused to investigate, but the cacophony of nature drowned out any further trace of the ominous noise. Dismissing it as a trick of the imagination, I pressed on, eager to reach the safety of home. The following day unfolded like any other, the events of the previous night relegated to the recesses of my mind. Yet as I embarked on my return journey from work, a series of unsettling encounters would shatter the illusion of normalcy that enveloped our idyllic town. Upon stumbling upon a discarded clown nose by the roadside, my initial amusement quickly turned to apprehension. What sinister force had brought this eerie artifact to our sleepy hamlet? Little did I know this seemingly innocuous discovery would mark the beginning of a descent into terror. As night fell and the fog enshrouded the landscape, a chilling encounter awaited me. A grotesque figure clad in tattered clown attire, his malevolent intent palpable in the moonlit shadows. With a voice dripping with malice, he demanded the return of his stolen nose, brandishing a weapon that gleamed malevolently in the darkness. Driven by fear, I fled into the night, the rhythmic pounding of footsteps echoing in my ears as the sinister clown pursued me relentlessly. With each passing moment, the boundaries between reality and nightmare blurred, my desperate flight fueled by primal instinct and sheer terror. Just as the specter of doom loomed ominously overhead, a beacon of hope emerged. A passing truck, its headlights illuminating the darkness and providing a fleeting respite from the encroaching horror. With a sense of relief washing over me, I signaled for help, the specter of the clown fading into the night as swiftly as it had appeared. Yet as I grapple with the aftermath of this traumatic ordeal, one question lingers in my mind. What malevolent force lurks in the shadows, cloaked in the guise of a clown? As reports of similar encounters surface with alarming frequency, I am left to ponder the existence of a sinister cult or clandestine organization bent on spreading fear and chaos. Though the scars of this encounter may never fully heal, I refuse to surrender to fear, steadfast in my resolve to confront the darkness that lurks within our midst. As the specter of the clown fades into the annals of memory, I remain vigilant, ever wary of the encroaching shadows that threaten to engulf us all. Just a few days ago, I had a chilling encounter with one of those infamous clowns that have been making headlines lately. While most people have encountered them from the safety of their cars, my experience was far more unsettling. Living in Massachusetts, my property is surrounded by dense trees with a lengthy driveway leading to the road. During the day, as I was trimming a drooping branch near my driveway entrance, I spotted him, a clown, or rather a person dressed as a clown. He walked slowly down the road until he reached the start of my driveway, his gaze fixated on me. I couldn't help but admire the terrifyingly authentic costume, reminiscent of a character from a horror movie. Despite the eerie atmosphere, I chuckled to myself and offered a hesitant smile in his direction. Surprisingly, he made no aggressive moves and continued on his way. Later that night, while going about my usual routine of securing the shed and turning off lights, I heard a noise outside. Opening the kitchen window slightly, I strained to listen, but only the rustling of leaves greeted me. Closing the window, I resumed cooking, only to be jolted by heavy, aggressive knocking from the same window. Panic engulfed me as I grasped the knife and cautiously approached the window, but the darkness outside revealed nothing. Summoning the courage to investigate further, I flicked on the patio light and peered outside, only to come face to face with the same clown, staring back at me through the sliding glass door. My instinct was to confront him, but fear paralyzed me, and I retreated upstairs to call the police. The relentless pounding on the door intensified, accompanied by eerie screams that chilled me to the bone. With each passing moment, dread consumed me, until a familiar voice broke through the chaos, my neighbor Marv, brandishing a rifle and ordering the intruder to leave. The clown fled into the woods, leaving behind a trail of terror. The arrival of the police brought a semblance of relief, though Marv insisted I stay at his place for the night, prioritizing our safety above all else. Reflecting on the harrowing ordeal, I'm reminded of the fragility of our sense of security in the face of inexplicable danger. In the midst of this wave of clown horror, I can't shake the lingering unease that accompanies each passing day. The rise of a peculiar Instagram account marked the beginning of a surreal ordeal for our school. Ostensibly created by a group of clowns, the account issued menacing threats to our school community. Naturally, the authorities were alerted, and the response was swift and serious. Police officers descended upon our school, with even the SWAT team joining the fray. The purported time of the clown's arrival was set for 11 a.m., sending waves of apprehension rippling through the student body. As the clock approached the fateful hour, a palpable tension hung in the air. Despite the mounting anxiety, a few friends and I remained skeptical, convinced that the threats were nothing more than a twisted hoax. Tales circulated of sightings of clowns lurking in various locales, including a particularly alarming account of one seen near the local pool, terrorizing unsuspecting students. Yet as 11:15 a.m. approached, the panic reached a fever pitch. The vice principal's urgent voice crackled over the intercom, instructing us to initiate a lockdown. With a mixture of trepidation and resolve, we dutifully complied, huddling together in the safety of our classroom, concealed from any potential threat. For the next agonizing hour and a half, we remained in a state of enforced silence, the only sound being the erratic beating of our hearts. Finally, the vice principal's voice resurfaced, signaling the end of the ordeal and granting us permission to depart for the day. Relief washed over me as I gathered my belongings, eager to leave the confines of the school behind. The journey home, typically uneventful, now felt fraught with apprehension. With each step, the shadows seemed to stretch ominously, and the surrounding forest loomed menacingly. Nevertheless, I attempted to maintain a facade of composure, drowning out my unease with the distraction of music blaring through my earbuds. As I passed by the swaths of dense forest, my nerves began to fray, my mind conjuring unsettling images of the elusive clowns. In a moment of irrational fear, I thought I glimpsed a figure clad in garish attire amidst the trees, a flash of white and yellow polka dots, a torn and tattered ensemble, and a mask with fiery red hair protruding from it. My initial instinct was to dismiss the apparition as a figment of my imagination, a manifestation of the collective paranoia gripping our community. Yet when the figure continued to stare fixedly in my direction, emitting a chillingly hysterical laughter, my rationalization crumbled. Panic surged through me as the clown abruptly broke into a frenzied sprint, closing the distance between us with alarming speed. Without a moment's hesitation, I abandoned my belongings and fled, my heart pounding in my chest as I raced back to the sanctuary of the school. Upon my return, I frantically relayed the harrowing encounter to a police officer stationed at the school. With a grim curse, he rallied his colleagues, mobilizing a search party to investigate the area. Despite their efforts, the elusive clown remained at large, vanishing into the depths of the surrounding woods. Rumors swirled in the aftermath of the incident, with whispers of a clown brazenly approaching the school's entrance, poised to wreak havoc upon our sanctuary. While I cannot personally verify the veracity of these claims, the possibility looms ominously, casting a shadow of uncertainty over our community. As the search for the elusive clown continues, I cannot shake the disquieting realization that he remains at large, poised to unleash terror upon unsuspecting victims. In the face of this escalating threat, fear and uncertainty have become unwelcome companions, shadowing our every step and perpetuating a climate of apprehension and dread. It was a chilly Friday night, the date etched into memory as October 7, 2016. The hour had long since struck 1 a.m. as I trudged homeward from a friend's house, the remnants of a buzz lingering in my senses. His residence lay nearly a mile distant, and as I reached the T intersection where two roads converged, a trail snaked into the enveloping darkness of the nearby woods. Despite the allure of a shortcut, I hesitated, apprehension gnawing at my resolve. The trail was shrouded in impenetrable darkness, devoid of any illumination, save for the feeble glow of my phone's light. While it offered a quicker route home, I found the prospect of traversing the woods at night disquieting, a sentiment exacerbated by the recent spate of clown sightings in our area. Nevertheless, the promise of shaving off a precious 10 minutes from my journey spurred me onward, and with a deep breath, I plunged into the murky depths of the forest. The dense canopy above cast eerie shadows, and the rustle of leaves underfoot echoed ominously in the stillness of the night. As I pressed further into the woods, a cacophony of sounds reached my ears, a symphony of footsteps, punctuated by the occasional rustle of underbrush. Despite my attempts to stifle the light from my phone, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, the hairs on the back of my neck standing on end. My worst fears were realized when the source of the sounds materialized before me. Two figures, cloaked in darkness, their grotesque attire unmistakable, even in the dim light. Clowns. The realization sent a shiver coursing down my spine, my heart hammering in my chest as I cowered behind a nearby tree, scarcely daring to breathe. For a harrowing moment, time seemed to stand still as I waited, paralyzed with fear, anticipating their next move. Would they spot me? What sinister intentions lay behind their ominous presence in the woods at this ungodly hour? To my immense relief, the clowns eventually resumed their journey, their retreating footsteps fading into the night. Seizing the opportunity, I bolted in the opposite direction, heedless of the noise I made as I crashed through the undergrowth. Emerging on the other side of the woods, I breathed a sigh of relief, my house looming across the street like a beacon of safety. With trembling hands, I fumbled for the key concealed beneath a nearby rock, my pulse still racing as I unlocked the door and hurried inside. The events of that night continued to haunt me as I sought solace in the familiarity of home. My mother, already fast asleep, remained oblivious to the turmoil raging outside. In a haze of exhaustion and lingering intoxication, I sought refuge in my bed, seeking respite from the horrors that lurked beyond my window. Yet sleep proved elusive as my mind replayed the chilling encounter in the woods on an endless loop. What if the clowns were still out there, lurking in the shadows, biding their time until they could strike again? A sudden thud has shattered the silence, reverberating through the stillness of the night like a death knell. My heart leapt into my throat as I recoiled from the sound, paralyzed by fear as the thuds grew louder, more insistent. Summoning every ounce of courage, I forced myself to confront the source of the noise, my hands trembling as I cautiously peered through the blinds. What I saw sent a chill coursing through my veins. A clown, his grotesque visage leering at me from the darkness beyond. Terrified beyond measure, I fled to my mother's room, tears streaming down my cheeks as I recounted the nightmarish ordeal. With unwavering resolve, she sprang into action, brandishing a can of pepper spray as she ventured into the darkness to confront the intruder. Yet just as before, the clown had vanished without a trace, leaving behind only a lingering sense of dread and unease. Determined to prove the veracity of my claims, I resolved to capture evidence of the clown's presence, to expose the truth lurking in the shadows. And so, as the specter of the clown continued to loom ominously over our quiet neighborhood, I remained vigilant, my senses attuned to the slightest hint of danger. For in the darkness of the night, amidst the whispering trees and lurking shadows, the truth awaited, shrouded in mystery and menace.